Hi and welcome. So, today we're going to talk about security roles. So, there are probably 20, 30, 50 roles that different kind of people could make up. So, what I tried to do is to create a small list that I want to talk about and then let's see what we hit. So, let's see if we can change the slideshow. There you go. I have 5 roles that I want to talk about today. The last one, maybe I should start with that. It is called the teacher. That would be me, for example. Um, so, how can a teacher involve others with security? How can teachers make sure that others find security interesting? Now, it is not like the taste of lollipop, but it is kind of necessary to learn about security these days whenever you're going to use, let's say, either a computer or you just live, I guess, because no matter what you do, you will pick up your phone, and there's a possibility it's going to be like a wish attack, or it could be social engineering, it could be physical security, could be many different kind of things, which is why security is something you just need to understand, to learn, no matter what field you're in. So this is of course me talking right now to you, trying to teach you to understand that security is not some flip that just came around the corner saying like, oh, I'm the new black. It's not like that. And this is probably the biggest concern of mine is that some people see security as like the new black, and next month, next year, it's another color, and it's not like that, right? So security has been here like for thousands of years, starting out with fences and not to build them out of wood and you can burn it down. So security is still here, and it's here to stay because we need security. We need to secure our stuff, our assets, our people, our lives. Everything needs to be secured. So let's talk about the very first one. Pen tester. So you want to be a pen tester, right? Then you need to learn about all the different kind of things there are, how to abuse them, and you need to be good at it. There are many different ways you can become a pen tester. You could go the try hack me way, which I talked about in the prior video before this. You can also go the school way, which is another way that I would always recommend that you at least do, and then you add on with online courses and stuff like that. Pen testing is an interesting field. I find pen testing as a skill, it makes me understand how vulnerabilities can be abused. It makes me understand why it's necessary to fix it or to patch it if it's something and you can, a patch, not to band-aid or something like that, but install a patch, new update. Understanding why things need to be fixed, why things need to be secure, is a really important step towards success if you want to have secure systems. Now, I know that your boss is not a pen tester, and I would argue that probably very few bosses are actually pen testers. Maybe 1 out of a million, maybe 10 million or something like that. It's very small. Do you know about pen testing? Maybe try a little bit. Maybe even did some try hack me or hack the box. I would say most bosses doesn't have a clue about anything about security. They just sit there and sign their papers and direct, resource flow and all the other important things that is important for an organization to work. But when it comes to security, they are numbnuts. They don't know what to talk about. They have no idea. Maybe you can explain some basic concepts like, oh, this is a phishing email. If you click it, bad things happen. But you need to use the word bad, right? So, pen tester is a thing. I would say do you need to be super duper at pen testing in order to be super duper in security? No, never. Pen testing is really good for many things. I could start up with the top of the list. I would say pen testing is really good for show off. If you want to show off how good you are breaking stuff and systems, well, that is a way to go. Would you like to be a really good pen tester or just a really good security engineer knowing how to fix stuff? Because pen testers necessarily do not know anything about how to fix stuff. They just know how to hit the wall to make it fall, right? So if you are the security engineer, you're not that good at hitting the wall to make it fall. You're a lot better fixing it so it doesn't fall. So if you can imagine what I'm going to say right now, I would say something in between, like you know how to find security issues and vulnerabilities, but you really also know how to fix it, because the one or the other, you know, if I should pick pen test or security engineer, who would I hire? I would always hire the security engineer, because the pen tester can't do anything about the system if it's vulnerable. So if it can be hacked, the person can hack it, and so what? Okay? So I know many of you people probably gonna say, but did you think about what value a pen tester can bring to your company? Yes, but if you can't fix the vulnerabilities, then it doesn't bring any value at all, right? So I would still say pen testing is really important if you want to know how things work, how to break it, and if you're good at finding the small loopholes inside the system, please talk to the security engineer really fast if you find something so it can be fixed. Alright, so I guess I could talk a lot about pen testing. Let's talk about security engineer, which I always already you know, said a few things about. The security engineer, in my eyes, is the kind of person that does the code, the system, the configuration, the things, all the technical stuff is done by the security engineer. Patching, maybe even some baby pen testing steps, you know, just the small things, running some automatic scans, testing if the firewall can withstand some basic DOS attacks, and what happens if the system gets, let's say, too much traffic in an hour, you know. A security engineer could do stuff like that. Security engineers are really important for a company to have. Which kind of educations would such a person have? Now, depending on your background, it could be kind of anyone, right? I know in the past, let's say 20 years ago, in the wild west, and we're still in the wild west, but it's not wild, it's more just wild, right? Still wild. So security engineers were most of the time self-taught people that just, you know, I've been sitting in my house or my cellar or whatever where I've been sitting doing stuff, code programming, and I learned Linux and Windows and DOS and all that kind of thing. But there are also security engineers that actually took an education. What kind of education did they take? Well, surprisingly enough, many people that start out in the IT field does not really think, I want to go and be a security engineer. No, they're probably more like, I want to be programmer, I want to be system whatever engineer, I want to be sysadmin, you know, I want to be web developer, you know, I want the apps for my phone, you know, yeah. Okay. So, but then at some point they came to the conclusion that I also came to many times. I wrote thousands, 100,000, probably a million lines of code, and at some point you just look at it and say, oh, this is boring now. I want to do something else. I want to help some field in the IT business. I'm not really ready to leave it. I'm not really ready to make the leap to maybe becoming the boss or the project manager or something. I wanna help security, for example. Well, okay. Then they do some course or SANS course or try hack me stuff, you know, hack the box, do some kind of things to get the flow going, and then at some point they say, yeah, okay, I know how to pen test, but I also need to know how to do engineering stuff, the security engineering stuff, is all about to how to fix things and how to make sure the software, the hardware, and everything basically is secure enough. Okay, so let's change the topic to the forensics. So the two first kind of roles we talked about, it's like very offensive, like very defensive. I would say fixing in a way, engineering. The forensics guy is the one that looks why or how the hack happened. So let's say that you work for a company and you get a computer and the boss say, listen, we need to find out how or why this happened. Some guy we just fired. I think he or she sent some data to the other competing company, or maybe copied something out. Can you see what really happened in the system? Could you look at the computer and maybe verify, or tell me what does it lead to? What kind of clues can you find? So the forensics guy will look at the computer using the tools, the mindset, the knowledge, and collect data and create like a map of like the forensics map. And from that, you can basically see almost anything. If it's a Windows computer, it kind of logs down to that you mark the folder, and not lying, but it does log that. So the forensics guy is probably not something you want to hire into your company, because it's very situational, and it's probably rare you're gonna use it. And I want to be honest. Usually, it's more like police job, or some kind of investigation companies working for law case. They're giving a law case to an investigation company, or even at the military. Stuff like that. Okay, so let's move to the incident response, and I'm almost tempted to say team after the word response, because incident response teams are a group of people that they move out when the S hit the fan. So whenever you have an incident, you need to respond to it really fast. And depending on the size of your company, you kind of need to respond faster or different or broader or wider or smaller or taller. So basically, instant response is what will you do if your systems are down and you're getting hacked? What are you gonna do if your system's down and you're infected with malware, ransomware, a bunch of viruses? What will you do if an insider do something and block your system from working? Incident response teams will move out, do the job, and boom, get your system back to working status again. However, I would like to say, would you like to hire an incident response team for your company? I would say nah. Depending on the size of your company, if you're really, really, really big, like Microsoft, I probably have one, I guess. But if you're just a company, selling web pages, of course you will not have an instant response team, because what kind of things that would happen to you is more like the standard hack. However, it's very difficult to say which kind of hacks you're going to be exposed to. However, instant response teams is very important. Now, we talked about the 5 different roles in the IT security fields that I usually go to when, students are asking me, well, what can I do? And this is what I would say you could do. There are many different specialized subtitles to each single one of those. Even the teacher one, look at being sub-teacher or a professor or whatever you're going to do, or another field of just the personal interest or whatever you're going to do, right? So the major 4 ones I would say are pentester, security engineer, forensics, and incident response. Please don't be too confused if you're going to look up a job one day and it says something like security analyst. And it's like, what is that? Well, it's probably in the forensics area. What I kind of did here is I took what I feel is the overall categories, and I know some might agree, some might not. That's the way it is. So I would say, depending on which title you find, you will get different roles. I'm gonna find a page, just pull it in just a second, and here it comes. Alright, so let's have a look at this. This is a page talking about cybersecurity roles and job titles. Okay, so if you scroll down of this, you would see like a different kind of approach to what I did, but it talks about security analyst, security engineer, the architect, the administrator, the software developer, the blah 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 blah, various specialized roles, intrusion detection specialist, computer security incident responder, security code auditor, various technician. I would like to say this sounds very American, and I would say it is probably very American since it's Washington DC in the top. So depending on where you are and which kind of company you work for, they create different kind of job titles. I would like to say, think about the 4 overall categories that I created. If it helps you, please use it. And think about, okay, so which direction do I want to go? So all these kind of roles here, I could place all of them in one of the top categories. I know some would say, no, this is a category itself. Why we created one each individual ones? But I would like to say that is fine. Think about the roles that I created if you wish to. If you find out you can use it, please leave a message below and say something nice in the comment. Even subscribe or like the video. So I hope you liked the video for now. I'm gonna see you again in the future. Bye.